Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Allie, this is the top comment, and we're going to be reading and reacting to some wild internet stories in the form of Reddit. So if you are into this type of content, please don't forget to subscribe. It is totally free and it means a whole lot to me. So for today's episode, we are going to be talking about relationships gone wrong. I know I've had a few relationships go wrong in my life, and I'm sure you have too, but today we're not going to focus on you and me. We're going to turn our brains off and focus on other people who maybe had it worse. We'll find out. Alright, so this first story comes from True Off My Chest, which is one of my favorite subreddits. It's all about people who just go on the internet anonymously and confess things, so I'm sure that already paints a pretty good picture if you're not familiar with it. I organized a fake wedding, and now my ex-wife is threatening to expose me. Not too sure why the original is gone, so I'll paste it here. Update is at the bottom. I organized a fake wedding and married my wife, and now my actual wife is threatening to expose me. I'm using a throwaway since I can't risk anyone I know catching on, but I have to talk about this to someone. 7 years ago, I met my now wife while completing my master's degree. She was a foreign student, and when we were in the same flat for student accommodation, we hit it off immediately. It wasn't long before we started dating. Fast forward a year or two, she decided to stay in the country and we moved in together. I loved this woman and things were going great, but she eventually started to bring up the topic of marriage. Her family is very traditional, and she insisted that if we were to continue being together, that we have to get married. I was strongly against this, but I seriously cannot say no to this woman, and I eventually agreed. Now, here's the kicker. I'm technically still married to my ex-wife. We did not end things on good terms, so I left without getting a divorce, changed my number and contact information. That was really smart of you. I did not want to have any contact with my ex-wife, and since my wife is foreign, she doesn't know the proper legal process required to get married here. I told her that I would deal with the legal aspects while she organized the wedding. She did have some questions as to why she never had to sign anything or provide any form of ID, but I lied and said it wasn't needed for where we live. Yikes. We had a large wedding and it would have been absolutely magical if it weren't for the fact that the whole time I was sweating bullets wondering if anyone would find out it was all a ruse. The only people who had any idea it wasn't a proper wedding were the staff, where I said that they were already legally married and were having a reception now that we had the money. We've been married for almost 3 years and she still has absolutely no idea, and it seemed like I had gotten away with the impossible. That was until last week when my actual wife reached out to me. Apparently she found out through a mutual friend that I had remarried and gotten my contact information from them. She called me all sorts of names and said that she would make sure that my wife finds out about my lies. I begged her not to and offered to get an actual divorce, but she told me that it was too late for that. I've been stressed out of my mind these past few days, and honestly I don't know what to do. Telling my wife is absolutely off the table, as I know for a fact that she would leave me without hesitation. So yeah, that's my situation. You are dumb. You are stringing your poor wife along in some game that she doesn't even know she's playing. You're dragging this other woman along by just not getting a divorce. You could just get a divorce. I don't understand. You're a liar, and I don't think you deserve either one of these women. If I'm gonna be completely honest, this is horrible, and the fact that you're trying to basically make yourself look good that you got away with the impossible, I don't like you. So, let's go ahead and read the update before we get into these comments, because this guy just gets absolutely shredded in these comments. So, here's the update. The last couple of days have been a whirlwind, and I'm making this update to say that you were all right. Really? Interesting. My ex-wife told my wife about the false marriage, and my life has completely collapsed. My now ex-wife completely blew a gasket and was furious with me, as she should be. She accused me of keeping her as a mistress so I could have 2 wives, which I tried to tell her wasn't true, but she wasn't having it. She stormed out of the house and is staying with a friend, and the closest thing to contact I've had with her is through this friend. She has told our friends, my family, and even my job about what happened, and they are all taking her side and have shut me out completely. I got fired expired and my dad called me up last night and told me I'm not welcome back home and not to contact my parents or my family. I genuinely don't know what to do now, as I will not be able to pay my rent, especially without my wife helping out financially. These are the consequences of your actions. You should have used your brain. A lot of you mentioned the issue of immigration, which I thought would not be a problem as she had a work visa. As it turns out, she had a work visa, but it expired a long time ago. She thought she would be fine since we were married, but she learned it was a sham and has been in a lot of hot water. I don't know how all of that works, so maybe that is how it works, and if that's true, then yeah, you are a huge a-hole. Apparently, after she contacted the home office, they said that if she did not get voluntarily deported, she would be detained and would have a minimum of 2 or even 5 years banned from entering the country regardless. Ooh, that's brutal. I'm not entirely sure how her family took the news, but according to the friend she is staying with, they are not happy with her and might not take her back either. So yeah, a lot has happened. I feel like complete crap, and I know that this could have been avoided, and I now have completely blown up both of our lives. Okay, you get 1 single brownie point for taking accountability at the end. Otherwise, you suck. This is horrible. You literally ruined your life. You ruined her life, and I'm so sure your actual first ex-wife is going to have a heyday in court with this. I mean, yeah, you're pretty screwed. We're gonna read the comments. The comments, there's a ton of them on this post, and they just pretty much rip OP to shreds, rightfully so. The top comment on this one says, "Thank you for posting an update. I'm going to be real with you. Much like the people in your real life, you're going to find that internet strangers here on Reddit will also be siding exclusively with your ex-wife." I know I am. Me too. She didn't deserve any of this, but you certainly had the life bomb coming your way. The next comment down says, "I feel sorry for her. You are incredibly selfish. You lied and manipulated her for your own gain. You never deserved her. She wasn't able to make informed decisions because of you, and now she is in real hot water. She didn't deserve that." I completely agree. She didn't deserve that, and I mean, I don't know how immigration works, so I don't really want to talk too much about it, but I would imagine that, yeah, she's probably pretty screwed. I hope you learn from this. I hope you come out a better person. All right, moving along to story number 2. This one also comes from True Off My Chest. True Off My Chest is probably like in my top 5 favorite subreddits because it is so juicy. People will literally create like anonymous accounts and go on there and just expose every last little dirty detail that is going on in their life that they just want to get off their chest and feel better. And it is chock full of some really funny stories. So this one says, "Lived 3 weeks like my husband. Results were inconclusive. Here are my findings after 3 weeks living like my husband. Out of curiosity to find out if his methods are superior and to see if I feel any increase in contentment. Here's what I did. No strict deadline on chores. No planning ahead. Do my hobbies with no regard for what else needs to be done. No meal planning. Took hubby out for milkshakes when he looked cranky. No laundry until I run out of undies. And here is what I noticed. Dusting doesn't actually need to be done weekly in my house. House looked the same after 2 weeks. Meals got really weird and sometimes unhealthy, but we always found something, I guess. Sheets smell like sweat and actually need to be washed weekly. Kitchen became a huge mess really fast and it put me on edge. Ended up more difficult to clean than usual when I did get to do it. Garbage cans all over the house overflowed, but I got to them eventually. I had a lot of fun doing my hobbies and made a couple of things I'm proud of. Good for you. Love that. Milkshakes made my husband more likely to hang out with me in the evening. Lack of planning led to forgetfulness that I ended up in public with greasy hair a couple of times. Laundry took a couple of days. Once I got to it, by the time I finished, closet was full again. The only part of the experiment my husband noticed was the milkshakes. Conclusion, I'll probably keep up with the kitchen and bed sheets and the bathroom too. Maybe ditch the weekly dustings and leave it until things look dirty. Keep the milkshake routine. I don't know. I learned less than I thought I would. It's hard if you are a routines person and you are with a non-routines person. That's definitely a challenge. I just want to see what these comments say. This post actually got deleted. Fortunately, I had screenshots of it ahead of time. I mean, if you live in such an opposite way from someone and you're trying to live the exact same way as them, but it goes against everything that's in your nature, I'm proud of you for trying. I'm proud of you for trying this experiment. I feel like this was probably good for you in the long run, and I don't know. I mean, you have to keep up with chores. For me, my chores day is on Sunday every week. I do everything. I dust, I sweep. Summertime, I will bathe my dogs because they, you know, after long walks, they smell like they've been working hard at the Frito factory. All right, let's get into some of these comments. The top comment says, congrats for doing the experiment, but I have to say, I literally left my husband over his inability to pick up after himself. Didn't matter how much work I did, he could be in a room for less than 5 minutes and somehow manage to trash it. The difference between living with him and living on my own is night and day, and I do not regret my decision at all. Yeah, I mean, if you are doing 100% of the chores and your husband is not pitching in, or partner or wife or, you know, whoever it may be, have a conversation with them. If they are not fixing things and they're still not doing it, I mean, yeah, this commenter was definitely right to leave, because for me, that would personally drive me nuts. Like, I can't live in a dirty environment. I can't. I have to have clean. I have to make my bed every morning, and it's part of it. For me, it's mental health, and it sounds like maybe for that commenter it was too. The next comment says, I was told that I seem to have so much time to do it all, plus take care of the kids and work the same job as him. I was done. So it sounds like a lot of these people actually left their partners for it, and I can't say I blame them. It's hard. It really is. The next comment says, did your husband notice? Did he attempt to help pick up the slack, or did he just remain completely oblivious? The only comment that I saw in here from OP before this post was deleted, it says, he never noticed. And that's insane to me. Like, that's nuts. How do you not notice that your space is cluttered and dirty and dishes aren't getting done? And what do you do after 2 weeks of having no laundry? Your socks get crunchy. Like, do you want to walk around in crunchy, gross socks all day? I don't. That's disgusting. The next comment down says, I bet he did notice, but he knew you'd get around to doing all of it, so did f*** all. That's very true. That could possibly be a thing, is that he probably was just in his own head and he's sitting there like, oh, she'll just do it. Maybe she's busy. Weaponized incompetence. The next comment says, then you ended the experiment too soon. Yeah, if he didn't notice, you might have ended this experiment a little too soon. I mean, what if you had just sat there and let everything pile up for like a month? I think you would have exploded. I think OP probably, their head would have just, I don't think there would have been anything left. All right, this next story is coming from AITAH, which is kind of similar to the traditional Reddit, am I the a-hole? And since we are going to be judging this person, I have a sparkly gavel. We're gonna be the judge, so buckle up. This story says, am I the a-hole for letting my boyfriend get a taste of his own medicine? Let's find out. Okay, so a 29-year-old woman is writing about her 27-year-old boyfriend, saying, he has this habit of constantly calling me dumb or stupid. It started as a joke at first. I laughed along. But over time, it became his go-to way of addressing me no matter the situation. I asked him, begged him to stop, especially in front of his friends, but he would always just chuckle and say, what? But you are dumb. His friends even picked up on it, and now they casually call me dumb too. It's humiliating. I immediately hate this person. You should break up. Why are you together? There's no redeeming quality in my mind if somebody's going to continually degrade you in front of their friends and family, or at all. That's completely unacceptable. I started avoiding his social gatherings because I knew I'd just be the butt of their jokes. Whenever I told him how much it bothered me, he'd say I was being too sensitive and that it was just a joke. Yeah, you know, it's really funny. Narcissists and abusers love to tell you that it's just a joke. As soon as you get offended about something that's actually offensive, they love to just say, oh, it's just a joke, because it minimizes your feelings. Last night, I hosted a party with my work colleagues. It was important to me because I work in a competitive field and many of my coworkers are incredibly accomplished. I introduced my boyfriend to everyone, hoping he'd be on his best behavior, but of course, he wasn't. Barely an hour in, he started the dumb comments again. My close work friends are used to me venting about this, but one of my senior colleagues, an incredibly sharp, no-nonsense woman, was clearly unimpressed. She turned to him and said, hey, you're a guest here and you do realize who you're talking to, right? Maybe cut the dumb comments. He laughed like he always does. Then later in the evening, I accidentally dropped my drink while reaching for it, and right on cue, he loudly called me dumb again. That's when my senior completely shut him down. You know, everyone in this room has either an advanced degree, multiple certifications, or years of experience in the field, including my name, who's one of the smartest and most competent people I worked with. The only person here without those credentials is you. So if we're talking about intelligence, you're the least qualified qualified person to judge. Dead silence. For the first time ever, my boyfriend had nothing to say. He went completely red and barely spoke for the rest of the night. Good. Shut him down. When we got home, he was livid. He said I should have defended him and that I let my colleague humiliate him and that what she said was unnecessary and cruel. I just looked at him and said, so now you know how it feels. He's sulking and acting like I'm the bad guy. For what it's worth, my senior later apologized to him before leaving and saying she didn't mean to be too harsh but was just looking out for me. Now he's acting like I betrayed him, but I can't bring myself to feel bad. After years of him publicly embarrassing me as if it wasn't fair enough for him to finally experience what he put me through, am I the a-hole? No! You're not the a-hole. You're not the a-hole. You sound like a wonderfully accomplished woman. For being 29 years old and already having your senior in your position say such wonderful things about you and to defend you, you've been with this person for years and he has been degrading you so much to where you think that you're the problem. Like, you're actually sitting here thinking that you're the problem right now. You have been conditioned to think that you're the problem because he has been making fun of you and downright bullying you for years. Girl, you need to dump him, okay? Listen to me. If you're out there watching this right now, you need to break up with him. He is no good. He is manipulating you. He is degrading you. He's bullying you. He doesn't even like you. If he's going to continually call you dumb and stupid, it sounds like he's jealous because it sounds like you are incredibly intelligent. You have it all going for you. He really sounds jealous in my opinion, and I really think that you should break up with him because as hard as that might be, going through your life hearing this all the time, that's only going to do more mental damage on you, and you're never going to feel good enough, and you deserve to feel good enough because clearly, babe, clearly you're good enough. And all of your friends seem to think so, all of your colleagues seem to think so, and you know, if you have family out there that's in your life, I would imagine they think so as well. So read the room, baby girl, leave. Alright, let's get into some of these comments yet. There's no official verdict on this post, but I already gave it. You're not the a-hole, not even in the slightest at all. So the top comment on this one says, not the a-hole. Are you sure you want to be with this person who clearly demeans you regularly, is emotionally abusive, something your very tremendously awesome colleague caught on to immediately? Your senior rocks and is wonderful. I hope she is your mentor. You have really great people that are looking out for you and they see the situation a lot more clearly than you do. And if you need advice on further steps, I highly recommend you go to them and say, what should I do? Because if they're going to stand up for you, they're going to give you the right advice. Alright, OP responds and says, right, she saw in one night what I've been dealing with for years. It really put things into perspective for me. It's got me thinking, why have I put up with this so long? It's really sad. I'm sorry. You need to break up with him. You will find somebody that will absolutely worship the ground you walk on, and I think that they're going to be really proud of your success and they're going to celebrate you instead of putting you down. This last comment on here says, it's sad that he's sulking instead of reflecting on his behavior. You deserve a partner who lifts you up. The last comment on here says, he is sulking, playing the victim, trying to get her to apologize to him for not sticking up for him when her colleague rightfully called him out for his horrid behavior. If he gets her to apologize to him, he reclaims the power in the relationship. He is a deeply insecure bully who puts his far more accomplished girlfriend down to nag her into being insecure about himself. He thinks this is how to keep her attached to him and for him to maintain control over her. The sulking is to make her apologize so he doesn't have to hold himself accountable for his horrid behavior. It's also so he can position himself in the relationship to continue to be able to chip away at her self-esteem by continuing to publicly humiliate her. Negging is controlling and emotional abuse. He will never reflect on his behavior. Men who resort to these tactics are bottom of the barrel. Instead of working to be the man their amazing girlfriend / wife deserve, they would rather put an anchor around their partner's neck to sink them down beneath their laziness. He is not interested in growth and change. He just wants to control. I agree. You're not the asshole. Alright. This next story is from one of my other favorite subreddits called Petty Revenge. So this one says, my ex constantly locked me out of the bathroom, so I took matters into my own hands. I was with my ex for a while. It was an unhappy relationship. I had bladder control issues and IBS. Whenever I needed to go to the bathroom, they would just run in first and take their sweet time just to irritate me and make me suffer. That's really mean. It went on for a long time, and one day I just about had it. We had 2 cats and 2 litter boxes. One day he went running to the bathroom and was just playing on his phone and plucking his face hair and refused to let me go, so I decided I would just go poop in the cat's litter box. Not only was it a big poop, but I also peed a little. The cats literally wouldn't use that litter box after, and then my ex came and was investigating it and saw, and he goes, wow, they pooped a lot, no wonder they wanted their box cleaned. And I just sat there and watched him clean up my shit. That was near the end of our relationship and he never found out. Edit, my ex and I were together for 4 years and he was a gamer and a pothead. When he would run to the bathroom, he would take his phone and his Nintendo Switch with him. I love you. You are so funny. You are the queen of petty revenge. This is hilarious. And rightfully so. I mean, like, if you have to go, I'm pretty sure that like holding it past a certain point is like genuinely bad for you. I'm very glad that you broke up with him. I love that you came to Reddit to tell this story, and I hope you're doing better in life now, because this is very funny. You got some good karma for this one. All right, let's get into some of these comments. OP is clearly a legend. All right, so the top comment says, somewhere those cats are still telling the tale of the day the giant marked our territory. Probably why they won't use that box anymore. You asserted dominance in the most primal way possible. This next comment says, I worked at a place where one of the coworkers' names was Catbox Bob. Bob and his wife got a new kitten and Bob thought it would be hilarious to take a huge dump in the cat box. He thought his wife would probably be worried / confused if the kitten had a poop the size of itself. At some point, I guess Bob would laugh and confess to what really went down, literally. So Bob takes off his drawers, gets into position hovering over the litter box, and starts to materialize his plan. His wife happened to open up the door where Bob was mid-poop and freaked out. The joke was on him when he got caught. This next comment says, a few years ago, we got a new dog and she didn't take too long to house train, and then one night I got into bed to land in a puddle. I don't think I've ever been as mad in my life, but we all have accidents, and then a few weeks later it happened again just on my side. I swear I've never been so tempted to pee back on a dog. I ended up not, obviously. That was 4 or so years ago. She hasn't had any intentional issues since then, and I still check my bed every time before laying down. I probably would too. My little white dog, Roman, he pooped directly in my shoe right before work, and this is Lance. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he's making his appearance right now. Roman came out from under the bed because he heard his name, and I still check my shoes, like my boots. I check my tall boots to this day, even though I know he wouldn't, but his aim was impeccable. I'm telling you, animals, you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, there's Roman right there. Speaking of, hi baby. He's like, why are you talking about me? Why are you telling this to everybody all over the internet? You're embarrassing me, Mom! Alright, you guys, that is it for today's episode. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Tell me who you think ruined their relationship the absolute worst. So yeah, if you guys like today's episode, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing is totally free and it means a whole lot to me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!